Not every war can be won, but something can be gained from every war. For the Americans, the War of 1812 was neither a loss nor a win. This war was also known as the Second War of Independence between Great Britain and the United States. The War of 1812, although not necessarily a success, impacted America significantly. The war lasted 3 long years, sparked by European conflict, causing warfare on U.S. territory, leading to the burning of our capital and the creation of our national anthem, ultimately leading to an increased sense of American patriotism. The War of 1812 did not begin due to American conflict, but instead that of the Napoleonic Wars. Furthermore, no war in Europe triggered American involvement. Instead, the U.S. involvement was in trade. Americas primarily traded with France and Great Britain, who happened to be enemies in the Napoleonic War. This led to conflict for Americans, as France had become a powerful ally to the United States after their immense help in the Revolutionary War. Britain was also a huge trading partner in the tobacco industry. To withstand involvement in the Napoleonic Wars, America passed the Embargo Act in 1807, limiting trade with any foreign nations. The act's passing helped for a small amount of time, but was later dissolved in 1810 as Americans realized trading was a crucial part of their economy that could not be lost. Once trade reemerged, conflict arose. French forces began to confiscate American merchant ship supplies without trading any goods in return. Moreover, Britain impressed U.S. seamen, forcing them to join Great Britain's Royal Navy. France and Britain were ruining their reputation as good trading partners, which helped with their success in the Napoleonic Wars. On June 18, 1812, America was finally fed up with the conflict at sea and declared war on Great Britain. Americans were fighting for the impressment of their soldiers, and Britain was fighting to gain or keep territory in North America. There were numerous battles on U.S. and Canadian soil, ranging from the Great Lakes, the Atlantic Ocean, the Niagara region, the Chesapeake Bay, New Orleans, and the St. Lawrence River. America won a few battles early on with its naval fleet. The USS Constitution is the most well-known ship as it won countless battles at sea for the United States. The sturdy oak ship was known for its impeccable strength against the British cannonballs, gaining the name Old Ironside. Shockingly, the USS Constitution still floats in the Charleston Navy Yard in Boston, Massachusetts today. Despite the United States' immense efforts at sea, Britain had major wins on American territory. On August 24, 1814, the White House of the United States went up in flames. Britain had successfully attacked the United States Capitol, leaving the Americans devastated, as Britain had burned a symbol of U.S. independence. Although troops seemed defeated, America did not give in. Instead, they relentlessly fought on. True American patriotism is shown in the moments when the country feels most defeated, yet through it all, it still manages to win. At the Battle of Fort McHenry on September 14, 1814, that is precisely what the Americans did. Britain's forces were working to gain control of the Baltimore harbor, and American troops were working to maintain control. They fought for 2 days, through the night, until finally, at dawn, the bombardment had ceased, and through the haze, the American flag stood, resembling that Americans had claimed victory at Fort McHenry. Francis Scott Key, a soldier at the battle, thought this moment to be poetic. At the Battle of Fort McHenry, Francis Scott Key wrote a poem entitled it Defense at Fort McHenry, that later became our America's national anthem. Key's poem was published in the newspaper and sung at pubs nationwide. Later, this tune was named the Star-Spangled Banner. The war finally ended with the ratification of the Treaty of Ghent on February 17, 1815. This treaty had 11 articles, including topics of land, slavery, prisoners of war, and Indian tribes. This treaty established the U.S. and Canadian border on the 49th parallel north, which is still implemented today. Nothing was gained or lost from the war, for Britain or the United States. However, that is not the case for the Native Americans. Natives had strong connections with Great Britain as they were allies in the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812. Natives knew the land and used practical fighting tactics like bow and arrow that helped Britain in battle. Nevertheless, after Britain signed the treaty giving up claims to land on American territory, it left the natives without allies. Soon they would be relocated to their homes and forced westward. War instilled great pride in Americans as they defeated Britain for the second time. They were now recognized as a small yet mighty nation for their win against the powerful Great Britain. American expansion was fully underway as travel westward was exploding and patriotism was rising with the reconstruction of the White House and the popularity of the newly composed Star-Spangled Banner. The War of 1812 may not be deemed the most important war for Americans, but it helped to shape the country's patriotism as we know it today.